I've got to be honest with you here, folks. A couple of weeks ago, Hygger asked me to review this Nano Airstone set, which I did, and I thought it was fantastic. Really, really good. But at the same time, they asked me, would I review this 4-in-1 cleaning kit too? And I did hesitate. I always think to myself, when somebody asks me to review something, is it something I can see myself using? If it's not, I say no. And if it is, I'll have a look at it and see what I think. So I didn't answer right away, but giving myself a wee bit of time, I thought actually it is an upgrade to some of the things that I've already got and some of the things I'm already using. So they sent it out. They sent both of these things out to me at the same time. Like I said about the Aquarium Airstone set, comes in a nice cardboard box, no plastic coating, good for recycling, and we need to think about that these days, folks. Even if you're one of the people that don't, I'd urge you to bear it in mind. It's the planet, the state of the planet for the people we're leaving behind we need to think about, isn't it? Anyway, let's not get too droll because we're opened this kit up now. So we've got a wee bag of gumudgeons. I'll figure out what they're for in a minute. Nice looking net. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's a 4-piece, isn't it? So we've got a nice sharp razor for cleaning the glass there. Looks like it'll do the job, and we'll put it to the test in a minute. Sponge head attachment. Then we've got the, what would you call it now? Handle, I think we'll go with. Made of carbon fibre, so it's going to be pretty strong. Probably could snap it if I tried, but it's going to hold a lot sort of pressure you're going to put it into anyway. Is that what tent pegs are made of? Tent poles these days? Lightweight and strong as anything? Anyway, so we've got one handle for all the attachments, and you can kind of see how it goes together. It's going to fit into that wee slot there. If we spin this around, you can see the wee, what would you call that? I'm going to go with peg. So why is that not going in? The spring is really, really strong, by the way, so that's going to hold it in place once I figure out how to get it on. There it is. There's a wee gap at the top there, you see that? So we've got to put the clip through there, give it a twist, and that's it. Pings back out again nice and easy as well. It's quite satisfying, in fact. Once it's in place, it's really sturdy. I just wanted you to hear the sounds of the clicks and the spring there. I think that's brilliant. I'm gonna enjoy that. So we'll see how long this handle is then. Remember, this is a smaller kit. There is a bigger 6-piece kit with a longer handle, a couple of parts to it, I think. This one's only 10 inches. So these kits are going to be ideal from like your bedroom tanks and your office tanks. Places where you haven't got a lot of space to move about. Let's have a look at the net then. And it is a really, really nice soft material. Looks like it's finely crafted, and the holes are big enough to let the water through but keep your fish safe. I'm not going to catch a fish in it just for the sake of the video. I don't think that's right, but yeah, I really do like the net, and I like that the frame is still made out of the same material as the handle. It looks, or maybe a plastic, I'm not too sure. Show you why that's important, right? So I've got nets in my fish cupboard. Of course I do. I've got an array of nets, all different sizes. But I want to start phasing some of these out. This is about a similar size, isn't it? Look how bent up out of shape that is. I don't even know how that happens, man. It always seems to happen, though. And sometimes you think you've caught a fish, and because there's a kink in it somewhere, the fish slips away. I just fed up with these metal designed ones. So the Hygger one, which is going to hold its shape, is ideal for my first upgrade. The next upgrade involves removing algae from the front of the glass, and I've used these over time. I've got this wee one here and a bigger one behind it, as you can see. Can't even remember where I got them. I might have inherited them, not sure. That one's got a bit of bend in it. The other wee one is a bit more rigid, but I don't like them. I feel like you've got to put a lot of pressure on them to do any good, and it still misses bits. You've got to go back over the same spot time and time again, and yeah, I'm not into them at all. Another thing I've used are these magnetic algae scrapers. couldn't find my one, so I had to sneak into an LFS and record this. I've had a few different kinds, and one of the dangers is you get sand or grit between the magnet on either side, well, between the scrape on either side, and as you pull it up, you get nice deep scratches in your glass, so I've given up on them over time as well. Then I found this, the Blade Runner. Sounds cool, doesn't it? This was a luxury item. This was £36, I think, something like that for an algae scraper, but I was seduced. It was meant to be the answer. You were meant to be the one, Anakin. Anyway, it wasn't. Same idea as a magnet scraper, really. One goes inside of the glass. I won't do it on this glass because it's a bit thin, and I'm worried that the power of the magnet might snap through it. But instead of using like a felt surface, it's got this razor blade. So it was supposed to, as you can see, leave a gap so you could scrape it about and it shouldn't pick up any debris or pieces of grit that was break your glass, scratch your glass, sorry. Supposed to, right? But some of this is algae you're seeing, but look, see that? Can you see that scratch there? There's a nice long one down there as well. That was all one movement. I don't know how it happened, but I was using that Blade Runner and got a nice, 2 or 3 scratches in the front of that tank. Raging. So we are done with the Blade Runner. We're done with magnetic scrapers. You know what I've been using instead? My fish store rewards card. It works perfect too. There's 2 issues with it though. First of all, I've got to get my hand into the tank, and we really shouldn't put our hands in our tanks any more than is very necessary. The other problem that I've got as well is because I use it as an algae scraper, I keep it near my tank and therefore forget to take it when I go away on fishing trips, and then I've built up no rewards at all. I'm only half serious with that, to be honest with you. They know me well enough by now and just ask for my postcode whenever I'm paying for fish. Why is the Hygger algae scraper an upgrade then? Well, I'm not sticking my hand in the tank. I'm not leaving my reward card at home, and I can feel exactly how much pressure I'm putting on the glass. I can decide how much pressure, and I think I would detect something very, very quickly if it was caught between the glass and the blade, so I could react and stop scraping. Whereas with those magnetic scrapers, you don't know until you got a nice long deep scratch. I've just realised, by the way, in the bag the spare spring is going to be a spare spring for the handle then, isn't it? Which says to me they expect you to use it for a very long time, unlike the Blade Runner. And should you need a replacement, you got one there. That's brilliant. That's good thinking, Hygger. Kind of you too, actually. A lot of companies won't give you spare parts these days, and if something breaks, they expect you to buy a new one. So I'm giving a big thumbs up to Hygger for that. Thank you. Alright, we'll have a look at the sponge attachment then. I should mention actually, it's clever that you can just put every attachment on the end of the same handle. You're kind of reducing down your storage space, I suppose, and clutter. Yeah, feels like a nice sponge. It's kind of coarse enough to make a difference, but soft enough to almost caress the glass. Reminds me of that magic foam stuff you used to get. I had a couple of sponges there, but lost it. And there you go, that's what your Allen key is going to be for. So you can adjust the head, kind of move it to the position you want, and the Allen key is going to be to tighten that or loosen it up. Very clever. Right, lastly then, we've got the brush. So this is going to be for the likes of brushing your rocks, giving it a good scrape, and the bristles feel quite firm. Yeah, I think that's going to do a good job. I've been using a toothbrush up to now, not Mrs. DKF's toothbrush, although she's nearly driven me to it at times. Only kidding, Mrs. DKF's a good one, but yeah, looks like a cool brush. Again, just snaps on. I'm never going to get tired of doing that, by the way. There's our Allen key. Yeah, I suppose what we do now is go over to a tank and try these things out, eh? Just before that, while I think about it, it looks kind of cool in the box, doesn't it? It's a nice way to store it, so it's maybe the way to go ahead. And look at the profile of the box. If you are keeping it in a bedroom or an office, you can easily store that away in a wee drawer or something, can't you? It's not going to take up much room and be in your way for eternity. Right then, as you'll probably know, I do have some tanks in some awkward and obscure wee hidey spots. So, like I was saying earlier on, this wee kit, because it's ideal for bedrooms and offices and setups just like mine, you can actually get in and about the tanks without too much effort. You can manoeuvre the tools about no problem, and I can feel it's doing a great job. Well, I can see it's doing a great job. I don't know if that's getting picked up on the camera, but the algae's falling away, and I do like being able to apply how much or as little pressure as I want as well, like this. I mean, it's not really a shock, right? It's a razor blade, so it is going to do a job of scraping the glass, but even the feeling of being totally in control of how hard you're scraping and stuff, I do like this. I'm definitely calling this an upgrade, and my loyalty card can go back into my wallet, I think. Right, the sponge. Let's have a go at this. They say only move it in one direction, so if you kind of spiral it, you can damage the sponge. So got to be careful to do up and down motions or side to side, whatever you choose to go with. But yeah, can feel it sliding across the glass, and it's certainly getting rid of some stubborn patches of algae. Is it algae or algae? I never know. I never know. See if anyone knows a definitive answer to that. Please give it to me, man. Anyway, I think it's going to do a good job. I don't know if it would maybe be best for the razor blade for your diatoms, or would this work on that? I don't have any diatoms at the moment to test it on, but I think either could give it a good go. I need to see later down the road about that. I wonder if you could do the outside of your glass with it, in fact. I wonder if I'm missing a trick here. Give it a wee dampen, wipe it over, and then get a wee tiny squeegee to clear the glass off. Maybe, I don't know. Can pretty much squeeze the sponge dry though, and they do say make sure everything's dry before you put it away again. Kind of makes sense. And obviously always make sure you've got the safety cap on the razor blade once you've dried it. Very carefully, kids. Get an adult to help you. Kids and clumsy people like me. As I said, we're not going to try the net, not just for the sake of it, so I can't think of a good reason to use it, but I'm all happy that I've got it. And we'll give the brush a wee go on this rock. You could even use it, in fact, the bristles are strong enough to shape your gravel if some of your gravel's moved about. Maybe you've got stick lids that like to redecorate. You can use that. And you could also probably use it, remember, ever had that stringy algae that grows through your plants sometimes? Probably scrape it out with that brush, couldn't you? Anyway, that stone will take a bit of work, but you can see the patch where I've been scrubbing definitely is clearer already. So, yeah, we're going to call that a cool tool too. Definitely better than not Mrs. DKF's toothbrush anyway. What do I think overall then? I think it's a pretty sweet kit, I must admit. I really do. I like the nice strong handle that you can clip all the different attachments on with a satisfying spring and a click. You can keep the box next to you and do all your different jobs all at once and keep everything nice and tidy. I like the way they've given you the extra spring, although they certainly expect you to use it and for it to last a long time. All the tools do their job. All the tools work really well. They were all upgrades to what I had previously been using. So yeah, I think it's fantastic. Not only that, I checked quickly on Amazon before I made the video here. Obviously, I didn't pay for this. Hygger sent this one out to me, and thank you for that. But the price on Amazon just now, I think it's 7% off at the minute. $12.99. You can't even buy a net for that these days. Especially when you haven't got any reward points.